because business is not just dollar and cent, but it's also creating value, right? It's also creating a legacy that you want in this state. So we are not just looking at numbers, but we want to make sure that you feel good here in Sabah.
Which market you would like to capture? Like some specific countries where you think it's time for them to come here?
It's time for them to come here. That's a good question.
Maybe for the next episode.
We welcome country that bring in quality investment, because our vision is to make sure that we are prime investment destination. B has always been an important signature event for the state. All right, I think thanks to Datuk Rosmawati, who actually brought in some main person actually come up with the idea of B. The whole island, Borneo, have so much opportunity. When it comes to resources, it goes without saying. The first thing if you use ChatGPT, will tell you resource-rich island, which is Borneo.
Hi everyone, this is Julien, your host on Legacy Business Podcast. Today I have the pleasure to be with Mr. Firdausi Soufian, the CEO of Invest Sabah. He just arrived from Sarawak from a very important business meeting. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you, Julien?
Fantastic. This is my second time in Sabah, and I'm looking forward to hear from you on the business and investment opportunities. Sabah is very ambitious when it comes to attracting investors, and you're very active doing that. Can you share to our viewers which particular sector you focus and where investors from all over the world can look at Sabah as a prime destination for investment?
Yeah, thank you so much once again. So I'm glad this is your second time. I hope will be the many. All right. So of course, if you look at Sabah, all right, it is in the heart of ASEAN, because it's in Borneo. So ASEAN have 600 over million people. So it's going to be the fourth largest economies in the world in 2025. You're looking at more than 3 trillion. So we are in ASEAN. So we are in Borneo, all right? So if you look at, when we talk about investment in Sabah, there's so much opportunity in Sabah. So firstly, when we talk about Sabah in general in Malaysia, so number one, this state contributes a lot to Malaysia, right? It's one of the top contributors when it comes in terms of GDP. So secondly, this state is it has a very good very strategic geographical location, right? It's very close to the emerging economies like Taiwan, China, Japan, Korea. So when we talk about the geographical location, that given an edge for the state when it comes to investment. And then this state also, for the past, if you look at for after COVID-19, all right, this state shows. I mean, everybody knows when it comes to COVID-19. Well, it tanked the economy, but we saw a V-shaped recovery for this state. Very quick, it bounced back, right? So the GDP growth there come from, of course, it's negative, recorded negative, but after that is 1.3%, and then now 2% is going to be 2.5%, right? So meaning to say it's very aggressive in terms of business, right? And then after that, this state also, when we talk about contribution to the economy in general in Malaysia, so we are the third contributor when it comes to agriculture, and then we contribute like close half of the Malaysia export for palm oil, right? We have 1/3 of the crude oil reserve in Malaysia. So when it comes to resources, this state is abundance, right? And when it comes to tourism, so in 2023, so we the tourism contribution when it comes to value added, meaning to say it's not just merely people come to Sabah and visit, but also they pay the value added activities. That one close 11% to the GDP, which is close to 83 billion. So if you look at this state, it's very active. There's a lot of business opportunity when we talk about Sabah, right? So of course, geographical location already explained to you, and then the growth rate we already give you the data, right? And then if you look at those business, the resources that we have is also is self-evidence. You can see that palm when we talk about palm oil, all right. So we hold 10% of the world market share. That's how big Sabah is. You see, tourism is clear cut. I'm pretty sure this is your second time, so I'm pretty sure.
Not yet visited Mount Kinabalu, but
Not yet,
no,
yeah?
but it's in the pipeline, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then it's not completed yet. So I'm
Exactly.
going to see the third time. You're going to come here and
Yes.
climb Mount Kinabalu.
We have a date.
Yeah?
We climb it together. Huh?
This state is it has the second busiest airport. And then when it comes to recognition, so we have this geopark recognition from UNESCO. There's only 3 in the world, so we are one of them. All right. So Danum Valley, and then the Danum Valley, and then it is one of those being recognized in UNESCO. So this gave a very good profile for Sabah. All right. So at the same time also, okay, when we look at all this development, we also have our own policy as well. All right. So after COVID-19, we all know that we cannot depend on all these rich resources. We have to move into downstream. We have to move into we have to expand our economy into more value-added activities. So there are few policies which I consider as a game changer that the government introduced. So number one, of course, is the biomass policy. Well, I told you before this, is that we have 10% of palm oil. We hold 10% of the world market share. So 1/3 of the biomass in Malaysia is in Sabah. So that's how big we have. I mean, you're looking at what? 45 million ton a year? So that's a lot, right? So with biomass, it is related to renewable. And this state, of course, has set the tone that it will, we have the world want to achieve net zero, right? The world want to decarbonize. The world want to ensure there's a proper carbon sink. We have that. That opportunity lies in this state. So with biomass, so that will give us an edge when we talk about renewable energy. All right. So that is why the state government introduced a state biomass policy. First state who introduced that, because we want to ensure all these value-added activities can be located in Sabah. All right. Then after that, we have Blue Economy Initiative. Right. So again, we are the first one who introduced this. Look at Sabah. You look at it's not just we are the second largest state in Malaysia, but you look at our sea territory is big as well, because marine economy is one of the key contributor to Sabah, right? So more than 1/4 of our GDP come from the marine economy, logistic, fish. Oh, we have a lot of fish, when it comes to self-sufficient level, SSL is more than 100% we even export to a lot of countries as well. So, marine economy is one of the biggest contributors. That's why the state introduced the blue economy policy, so that it will set another new tone for the state that, look, we will harness our resources sustainably, sustainably on one hand. On the other hand, we will also utilize our resources to make sure that we have a new initiative to the world that we want to expand our economy with the blue, with the marine related, right? So then we have ocean thermal energy conversion enactment introduced by the state last year in April. So again, we are the first state who introduced that, because we want, again, going back to renewable, going back to net zero. So this state introduced the first enactment for ocean thermal energy conversion. So it was launched by the Prime Minister. So again, that will set a new tone when it comes to energy sector. Yeah. So another one, we also have this Sabah Energy Roadmap and Action Plan. So this one is also important because look, when we talk about economic development, energy is crucial. All right. So, but energy, we cannot rely on fossil fuel. In 2050, we have an objective to have net zero. Right. So with this roadmap, again, it set a tone for the state. We are very serious when it comes to renewable. We are very serious when it comes to moving towards more sustainable energy usage. So far in Sabah, if you compare to national average, we have 7.6% of renewable, right? The national average is around 3.6%. It now is going further up in terms of percentage. But Sabah, again, is around 7.6%, which is quite good number, all right, given, we do have, when it talks about renewable, there are a lot of challenges, right? But that number is quite good, right? So all this, basically, all these policies set by the government, energy, and then our harnessing our competitive advantage, right? So the state actually is setting an objective to make sure this game changer plan to make Sabah a beacon of economic development development resilience, right? It's not just development, but also resilience and also sustainable, right? Now, so what are the sectors that we can invest in Sabah? I think that is very
Thank you
crucial.
for coming to. Well, that was a good presentation
No,
for our viewers. But
uh-huh.
the sectors that because now you're kind of giving us the landscape, but we want to know specific. Yeah.
So there are a few sectors. First of all, I just want to let you know what are the sectors that drive this economy in Sabah. So then from there, then you can see what are the potential. Number one is always agriculture. The world talk about food security. All right, you can never go wrong when you invest in food. Right, everybody wants to eat, including you and I, animals as well. All right, so food, agriculture is something really big. Right, industrial commodity, for instance, like palm oil, of course, that is one of those opportunity that we can focus on because that uh, agriculture is is one of the driver for growth, right? Secondly, of course, tourism. Tourism, it goes without saying. I told you like close to half of our total GDP come from service sector, come from tourism. All right, tourism is something really big, but tourism is not just simply just tourism. What we know, sightseeing, the conventional one. No, what those opportunity that you can look at is always the community-based tourism, right? Because we emphasis on inclusivity, right? So, and then of course, if you look at um, the green tourism, if you look at, I don't know, you've been to one of those jungle in Sabah? No?
Not yet.
Not yet, right? Because in Sabah, from mountain top to ocean deep, we have everything, you name it, right? So that's the beauty of Sabah, right? Then after that, if you look at marine economy is one of the driving sector as well for growth. So marine economy is also an opportunity. So another one is also logistic. So look, Sabah is the second busiest airport, has the second busiest airport in Malaysia. If it's in we are located in Borneo, then we are the busiest one in Borneo, right? And then logistic is something that people look at as well. All right, and then now with the drone technology, so these are the some of those initiatives that the government actually look at because when we talk about opportunity, technology goes without saying is always there to invest, right? So the drone technology, drone required for agriculture, for big data, for analysis, for plantation. So these are the when we talk about logistic, of course, technology go along with it. All right, and then of course, mining sector, quarry sector, all these are very a sector that offer great opportunity as well, right? Um, so all these human capital development, of course, that one goes without saying, is always been and continue to be a big opportunity for Sabah, because we talk about technology. We talk about now people all talk about AI, Gen AI. So everybody everybody knows what is AI all about, but there's so much opportunity, when we talk about AI, the data center. All right. So that's what actually we also looking at, right? So when you talk about technology, then you need human capital development. And this state, we have every year we have 10,000 university graduates every year, right? But of course, we want to upskill people. So upskilling require investment. Again, this is a big opportunity when we talk about human capital development. Of course, infrastructure. This state, we require a lot of infrastructure. So again, a great opportunity to invest in that sector too, right? Um, I think other things that we can also focus on, I think renewable energy is something that uh, the state actually promote. Like what I said just now, biomass, mini hydro, and then mini hydro, and also when we talk about solar, right? Because this state, the east coast, sorry, at the north area called Kudat, it has a very good radiance of sunlight, which is good for solar energy, right? And then now when you talk about RE company, you need renewable, and solar is one of those opportunity that, this state can offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of opportunities, but I want to touch upon the Sabah International Convention Center, which is the latest in the region. It started in 2020. How do you plan to capitalize on this, immense building and facility to attract more investors, to have more conferences of this magnitude? Sabah Invest is one of the sponsor this week for this important event of Business Event Summit. Can you share with us how this facility encompass your overall strategy?
All right, B has always been important signature event for the state. All right, I think thanks to Dato' Rosmawati, who actually brought in some main person actually come up with the idea of B. Right, so it brought a lot of people come to Sabah. All right, it is one of those what they call MICE event. Right, so to showcase what we have to offer in the state. So apart from industrial sector, but when we talk about tourism, events, and then other related to that business, all right, B has been very important to showcase, to build a profile for Sabah. Sometimes you have to look at that place before you understand that place, like you, Julien, you come here, then you know what is Sabah all about, what are the things that we get to offer, and the beauty of
And
the city.
something that struck me, I lived in the Philippines for 4 years, and today there are a lot of Filipinos from Mindanao. I was not aware, although I've been living also a long time in Malaysia, but you have this ecosystem among those 4 countries, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei. Can you share about your hopes and expectation when it comes to investment among yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're very close, of course, geographically.
Mm-hmm.
You're closer to Brunei than, let's say, KL, and now there's this the new capital of Indonesia, Nusantara, is going to be moved to Borneo. So how do you plan to leverage on that? Because it's 4 powerful countries that can achieve a lot together, and I can really see that there's a lot of a willingness to work together. Like I feel like it's almost like one country when I'm here.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah. So I think the one that you mentioned is what we call it in ASEAN. We have this BIMP-EAGA.
yes,
All
correct.
right. So BIMP-EAGA play a very important role when it comes to trade, and also connect business trade partners between all these states that you mentioned just now. So of course, these are all 1, 2, 3, 4 states, which is very all key driver for ASEAN growth. All right. So I think under this BIMP-EAGA framework, there's so much opportunity when it comes to, I think, tourism, food related, and then the trade in general. All right. Um, I think this is a great opportunity for us, especially in B, when you have all these people, so they get to know each other, all right, and also understand what are the new opportunity that they can explore, right? If it wasn't B around, you wouldn't know what are the opportunity. If you don't talk to people, if you don't actually know people, you wouldn't know what are the
For
opportunity.
example, just before our interview, I met some Filipino. They already invited me to Mindanao and like for another conference. So I can really see the connection is much faster, and it's a different environment than in KL, let's say.
Ah,
When you
yes.
think KL is like you're very near Singapore, you're very near also not too far from Thailand, but here it's like totally a totally different scope and access to markets where it's a bit harder
Exactly,
from the
exactly.
peninsula, Malaysia.
So Peninsula Sabah, they have their own comparative advantage. So Johor and Singapore, they have the Iskandar, all right, and then you have the growth triangle on the north at Selangor, Penang. So they call it the growth triangle. And then here you have BIMP Yaga. Like I say, you see, when the relocations of the capital city of Kalimantan, so the Borneo state will be very important right now. So Sarawak is like really focusing on their comparative advantage, which is energy. And then now they have this, they are pioneer of the ASEAN grid right now. And then Brunei under their economic framework called the Wawasan Brunei 2035. So they have their agenda too, which is quite similar with us. They have a new vision, which is similar with Malaysia Madani too. And then Sabah has this Sabah Majujaya framework. We have our own plan as well, like I mentioned just now. Indonesia also, and they have their own plan too. So if you look at Borneo right now, I think people should have this look Borneo policy, or what I call a Greater Borneo, right? Greater Borneo is located in ASEAN. It's very close to Philippines. It's very close to, of course, in Borneo you have Brunei, a sovereign state, and then you have two states, Sabah, Sarawak, and then the new capital city of Indonesia is in Kalimantan. So this gives a new, breath and a new opportunity to actually explore the opportunity in Borneo, not just this Sabah, Sarawak, or Brunei, Indonesia, but the whole state. The whole island, Borneo, have so much opportunity. When it comes to resources, it goes without saying. The first thing if you use ChatGPT, it will tell you resource-rich island, which is Borneo.
Even in terms of health care, the air, they complain a lot about pollution, but you have also access to really good air that can help people to, for example, treat cancer, or because the atmosphere also is very important. So we were in Singapore actually last weekend, and we had some experts in the field that all recommended that we should have a property in Sabah because of the quality of the air, and it's sometimes something people, they don't see it as a priority. But for many Europeans or people who are looking for a better lifestyle, that becomes maybe one of the first things they're going to look at,
Exactly.
So this is one of the positioning that I thought that was very interesting about Sabah, because of your gigantic forest and how you can leverage on that as well. So last question I have is more about your role as an entity, as Sabah Invest. How do you guarantee that international investors, how do you take care of investors? How do you treat each case? So to give an idea to investors, you are the main gateway for them. How do you operate to facilitate their incorporation in the state?
Right. Invest Sabah obviously is poised to be a one-stop center that we facilitate. It's a gate, it's a front door and a gate as well for investor, all investment. All right. So the state set up Invest Sabah is to make sure that you have one-stop center, ensure ease of doing business, and also you have all the necessary information about the state. I think that's what we actually do. Of course, we do have vision. So because investment drive development, investment drive growth, I think goes without saying. But what we want actually is to attract prime investment in the state. right? Of course, at the same time, we want to be globally connected, right? And also sustainable and inclusive. So whatever we facilitate investment have to align with that vision. Now, what we do here, of course, we want to make sure we want to facilitate investment. All right, we will make sure that you know all the information in Sabah from A to Z. What are sort of things that you need to do? All right, sort of document, and then land which is available for you, and then other things related to facilitation. It's not just the pre-facilitation, but also post-facilitation. We want to make sure that you are okay and fine to do business here, right? To bring in your. It's not just your money in, but it's also because business is not just dollar and cent, but it's also creating value, right? It's also creating a legacy that you want in this state. So we are not just looking at numbers, but we want to make sure that you feel good here in Sabah, right? So of course, facilitating. Second, of course, we advise. All right, we advise in terms of businesses what sort of things that you need, especially when it comes to those formal administrative procedure. We will try to facilitate. And third, of course, we engage. We engage with people like you to talk and tell people, to the world that what is going on in
In
Sabah.
Sabah, yeah.
All right.
One last thing is about the countries that are already in Sabah. To give us an idea, like your top 3 countries that are, let's say, is China very present here, or it's another? To give us an idea of the landscape of investors, and if you can name a few big companies who are already present to give confidence to investors already.
Well, of course, I think most Southeast Asia, China presence is quite big, right? So, if it's in Sabah, I mean, in Malaysia right now, so America is the first trading partner right now, and then China, right? And then in Malaysia, in Sabah, on the other hand, we have China.
First
Number
issue.
one, we have China. Well, because of the keeping one of the solar panel producer to the world, right? And then we have Korean
Koreans
company.
are strong here.
Yeah, strong here. SICC. All right. So they produce the copper foil for EV. All right. Okay. And of course, our trade to ASEAN is big.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have Thailand, which is quite prominent. All right, in Sabah too. India, because of palm oil, because they import a lot of palm oil. We export a lot of palm oil. All right. And then, of course, Singapore is one of those.
Any European countries?
Oh, EU in general, of
EU in
course.
general,
EU in general is one of our main trading partner. Japan as well. So Japan, Korea, obviously these two emerging economies, including China, of course, is one of the main partner.
Which market you would like to capture? Like some specific countries where you think it's time for them to come here?
It's time for them to come here. That's a good question,
Maybe for the next episode.
We welcome country that bring in quality investment, because our vision is to make sure that we are prime investment destination that is quality and globally connected, and also promote sustainable and inclusivity. I think we have to align with that vision. So I wouldn't say that we have any specific country that we want to target in, but I think that vision, if you have that, of course, we want to align with that vision and bring in those investment who is aligned with our vision. All right. Of course, now
the one I had in mind is UAE, because they are very strong about COP28 and renewables.
Exactly.
So
I'm about to go to that point.
Yeah. You see, I can read your mind. After 30 minutes, I can figure out a bit.
And then tourism is big for them as well, for UAE, because the recognition that we get for Geo Park. Right. So I think UAE are very interested when it comes to our jungle and forests. Right. And then they will be very much fascinated by that.
For
I
sure.
think European market will always be there.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, America too. Right.
Now, we could see through this event that there's 800 participants from 30 different countries. So I think you're touching almost every continent, even someone from Guatemala. came all the
yeah.
way to this event. So thank you so much, Mr. Soufiane, for this great interview, and we are wishing you and the state of Sabah great success in 2025. Malaysia is a chairman of ASEAN.
Yeah.
So this is definitely your momentum, and we are just here to highlight your current success, and we are hoping for seeing more in the near future. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Julien.